Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Time with HP. I've been thinking about doing a movie analysis for quite some time, and yesterday I watched The Whale, which really inspired me to give this a shot. So, this is my first movie analysis/review, and I'm happy that you tuned in. So, let's talk about The Whale. The Whale is a film by the acclaimed director Darren Aronofsky, who some of you may know also from the movie Requiem for a Dream, which is also one of my favorite movies. But I can't really watch it that often because it's just so dark and depressing, but nevertheless a very beautiful film. If you don't know it yet, check it out, but be prepared for a wild and heavy ride. Before I start talking about the movie, I want to mention that this review talks about central themes of the movie and therefore contains some spoilers, so be warned. So let's talk about The Whale. The Whale is about a heavily obese literature professor who teaches online courses. He's very ashamed of his condition and therefore becomes completely reclusive. He always turns the camera off during his courses, which many of us since the pandemic can probably relate to, who didn't want to turn off the camera on some occasions and just sit there in his underpants eating chips. Charlie lost his big love for which he left his wife and daughter Ellie for, and therefore descended into obesity by numbing the pain with food. Charlie's health is slowly but surely failing him. After he realizes the reality of his probably soon ending life, he tries to reconcile with his estranged daughter. Ellie has built up a giant wall around her and is pretty hostile towards her father, or let's better say she's seemingly hostile towards the whole world. She resents him for abandoning her, and her mother, as we learn, also has a slight drinking problem, so Ellie is what you can call a disturbed and angry teenager. Charlie is accompanied by his nurse Liz, who deeply cares for him and possibly is the only person he has left that gives a shit about him. Another character is Thomas, a Christian missionary, who happens to stumble across Charlie while he's having a medical emergency. In this scene, Charlie for some reason asks him to read out loud an essay about Moby Dick. And over the course of the movie, we as viewers get to learn the meaning behind Charlie needing to hear that essay read out one final time before his life is ending. As the missionary accidentally showed up at the right moment to help Charlie, he sees this as a sign of God, showing him that he should help Charlie in any way possible. At least this is what we see first and what he says in the beginning. So the film revolves around these few characters, at the center of which is Charlie. The whole movie is basically taking place within the walls of Charlie's apartment. Since The Whale is based on a theater play of the same name, and when watching it and knowing that, I really can imagine this as a play. I suppose it stayed very true to its origins, which I think is very cool. Over the course of 2 hours, we see Charlie trying to reconnect with his daughter, and we also see his health slowly declining, and we see his struggle with his food addiction. I think it's the first time anyone has shown this issue, and I think it's great to cast some light on this topic, which really I had the feeling I got more insight to this battle many people have with obesity. It really emphasizes Charlie's humanity, and part of that is beside a sheer, never-ending love for the people, or at least the concept of people and their abilities, he also is crippling himself over his guilt. That's what I love about a good character, is ambiguity. He has so much love for the goodness of people, but he's treating himself basically in the way of slowly killing himself because of his guilt and a broken heart. He's not a black and white character. Same goes for all the other characters. The ambiguity is also mirrored by the character of his daughter Ellie, which he so strongly believes in her goodness, even though she throws nothing but hostility towards basically everyone up until the point where her own mother, Charlie's ex-wife, even thinks she might be evil. But you see and sense that Charlie might be right about the good in her, but you'll never know if they might overcome their own issues up until the end of the movie. Ambiguity is also mirrored in Tom's character, which basically is seemingly honest and with good intentions towards everyone, and especially Charlie at his heart, but as we later learn, not really as purely good-hearted as he seems to be, because he condones Charlie's way of life and has no acceptance and no real empathy for him, because he's blinded by his wrong ideas about a righteous way of life and therefore is not able to understand Charlie and the pain he experienced. Tom is basically another misguided teen who Charlie just gives the advice in the end to reconcile with his estranged family and go home. After a scene with a confrontation with Tom, it becomes clear that Charlie cannot and doesn't want to be saved by God or the idea of God according to the ideas of Tom, By the end of the movie, it becomes clear that the only grace Charlie can and wants his soul to be saved by is the grace of his daughter. At the center of this lies the essay about Moby Dick she has written as a young girl in school, which Charlie religiously loves and which symbolizes, or let's say is the gateway for his possible absolution. It's the only way his soul can be saved, because that's the way he longs for his soul to be saved. It's his choice to stay in touch with beauty and the love for his daughter, and therefore a previous conversation with Liz, who desperately wants Charlie to get better in order to survive, and does everything she can to support him, hints at the core question of the possibility of lost souls finding the light when she says, "I don't think that anyone can be saved," meaning that in the end a person only can save themselves from the pain. But sometimes, like in the final scene playing out, two people can individually save themselves at the same time, and therefore forgiveness occurs and the heavy burden of guilt and resentment is lifted up from their shoulders and sets them free from the hurt and the anguish. At the center of The Whale stands Brendan Fraser's performance, which not enough praise can be given to. He masterfully gives a very emotional performance and definitely deserves the nomination for the Academy Award. As a child of the 90s who grew up with The Mummy and Bedazzled and even remembers his memorable stint as a side character in Scrubs, I really am happy to see his awesome comeback, and I hope he will continue to give us incredible performances in the future. Like I mentioned before, strong performances are given by every cast member. Sadie Sink as Charlie's daughter definitely shines in this installment. Many people will know Sadie Sink by her popular role as Max in Stranger Things. Who doesn't like that running up the hill scene, right? It was just pure television greatness. She's been my personal favorite character in Stranger Things and continues to shine as an up-and-coming name who everybody should expect a bright future in the movie scene. I'm sure that there is a lot in store for her. The Whale is, like every good story, poetic at its core. At the beginning and the end stands at the center, like mentioned before, an old essay about Moby Dick, which his daughter wrote years ago. By the end, the story comes full circle, and the journey in between is what makes the impact of the final scene so great. I really loved the movie. From the story, which makes you interested and care for the characters, to the performances, to the great production, the score, the general tone, and the core message about the search for redemption and forgiveness in the midst of struggling with serious addiction, mental problems, and their internal conflicts. It has a very human message at its heart, and it really moved me in every scene. During its course, I just hope that Charlie and his daughter will find peace and forgiveness for each other and themselves before it's too late. At the end of the movie, especially after its incredibly powerful final scene, I was left very moved by what I had just seen. And as the end credits scrolled, I really needed a second to regain my composure, because this one really hits hard on a very deep level. The beauty and the sadness of the story coming full circle in the end just left me speechless. It's what a good movie does to you. It just takes you on a ride, you follow the characters, you feel their internal conflicts and motivations as they unfold before you. And what can I say, this movie just absolutely blew me away. It's not often that I feel this emotional impact by a story told within 2 hours. I, for my part, am surprised that it didn't get nominated for Best Movie at the Oscars, but I think Brendan Fraser has very good chances of winning Best Actor. I think it's a close race between him and Austin Butler for his performance in Elvis. I can strongly recommend to everyone who likes character-driven drama to go and watch this movie. And if you have the chance, watch it on the big screen, because it's really worth experiencing it that way. Thanks for watching my first movie review. If you liked it, please subscribe and ring the bell. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the movie are. And in case you want to see another review, let me know which movies you would be interested in me doing another review for. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, everyone, and maybe we'll see each other soon for another video at Movie Time with HP.